Hello and welcome to Jill Cameron Creations. Today we are going to take a look at the Lawn Fawn Scalloped Box Card Pop-Up. I absolutely, is another one of my favorite cards to make as a pop-up box, because Lawn Fawn made this so perfect. And I know this is one of their older die sets, but it's still just absolutely perfect to fit inside of a regular card envelope. Absolutely love this card. So the first thing that I usually do is I will cut the inside pieces out first, and I die cut all of my pieces. So I'm using the Nina Solar White 110 pound cardstock. I went with a really heavy version of it so that my box wouldn't be flimsy and it would stand up on its own and all that good stuff. And I wanted to do some ink blending on it as well as some glimmer paste. The stamp set that I'm going to use to fill my box is the Lawn Fawn Fairy Friends, and I wanted to put some fancy stuff on the bottom of the box and make it glittery and really fairy-like. So that's what I did, and I wanted to make sure the paper would stand up to that treatment. So I cut out 4 of the little cross braces that are to go inside of the box. And what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to put it together, and all the little steps and everything that I do to put this together, and how I have found the easiest way to put this box card together. So like I said, I go through and I die cut all of my pieces first and just tape everything down in place as I work through. When you go to die cut the actual box part itself, it's easier to use a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper cut in half down the middle on the short side instead of on the long side. So you end up with sheets that look like this. It's just easier to cut them out than try to fit it on a 4.25 by 11 piece of paper. So I die cut 2 of those, and then we're going to pull out some distress inks and a little bit of water and also the glimmer paste, and get all of that on the outside and on the inside flaps of the box. There is one part of this that I didn't show that I don't show in the video. I put some patterned paper in a couple different places on the back sides of things so that it wasn't just white paper. I did add some little pieces of green and white polka dotted patterned paper. It's super cute. Anyway, so I pull out my mixed media matte, and then I'm gonna go and do some super fast ink blending. I wish I ink blended this fast. I really do. I used worn lipstick, picked raspberry, broken china, mermaid lagoon, twisted citron, and mowed lawn. I did pink on the bottom of the box on both pieces, and then on the inside flaps that fold down I did the mowed lawn on 3, and the one that stays standing up I did the mermaid lagoon and broken china. So it kind of made it look like it was grass and fields and sky, and the bottom part of it was pink, because you're in fairyland. You're not going to have normal stuff. It's fairyland, baby. And then I Copic colored all of the images. I do not have the coordinating dies for Fairy Friends, so I used my Pick Scan Matte and I sent it through on my Silhouette Cameo 3 and die cut those out on my Silhouette machine instead of fussy cutting them. It would have taken me 4 times longer had I fussy cut them. Y'all know I'm not a fan of fussy cutting. So I believe that this stencil is from Stampin' Up! 2 years ago, maybe. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a very little detailed design, and it was perfect for this card. Of course, you can use any stencil that you want to. Just make sure that you cover up the tab on the end, which I did not. So I had to scrape off some of this stuff before I could glue my ends together. So Glimmer paste, if you go back and you watch my video that I did on all the different kind of embossing pastes you can use, glimmer paste is probably the messiest one. It dries super, super, super quick. So be sure that you wipe your tools off and wipe your stencil off really, really quickly. It had already dried by the time I even got to this. It was already dried on my stencil. I did the other part of it in the other side and went and just did the exact same thing and filling it in and smearing it all around. It had dried on my stencil before I could even get to the sink and rinse it off. I could probably put it in with a little bit of Dawn dish detergent and some warm water and a fingertip brush and it would come off, but it's not so bad that it's interrupting my pattern on the stencil or anything, so I'm not really all that worried about it. But glimmer paste, get it off immediately because it sticks to everything. Just keep that in mind when you're using it. Try to scrape off as much as you can with your palette knife. That's one reason I do like to use a metal palette knife instead of a plastic one, because it's easier to clean up than a plastic one and it gets the stuff off better. To me, it does anyway. So invest in a good palette knife. You won't regret that. Next, I went ahead and let this dry. I let it dry for probably 30 minutes or so, and then I flipped it over and we are going to ink blend for the mowed lawn and the blue. So I flipped those over. I did the blue and then I do the green on the other two. It's been a long time since I've ink blended something, and let me tell you, my shoulder actually hurt after I did this. It's been a long time since I'd ink blended anything this much. Probably the Distress Oxide inks would go on a whole lot easier, but I don't have all of the colors of the Distress Oxide inks. I just have the first set I think that came out, and just haven't gotten the rest of them. So we're using what I have, and I have the little mini ink cubes for the Distress inks. I have some larger ones, but not many of them. I like the minis. They work for me very, very well. So ink blended that, and notice that I'm using a post-it note on my fingertips. That's to keep me from sticking my fingers in ink and spreading it everywhere and getting my fingerprints in the already ink blended parts. That makes me nuts when I do that. But anyway, they're just inexpensive sticky notes. I actually got a pack from the dollar store just to be able to do this, so that I wasn't messing up any of my good post-it notes that have like pretty pictures on them or a fun color or the full sticky on the back or whatever. These are just dollar store ones that will stick to the end of my fingers, and it's all good. Keeps all of your work surface clean and everything. One thing that I did notice when I did this was that on the back side of my card right there on that panel, I started having some green filter in at the top and the white spots on the back side of it. So what I ended up doing, like I said before, was I just covered that part of it up with some pretty patterned paper, and it's just green polka dotty paper. I sprinkled this with some water to break up some of it looks really, 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 really strong and blotchy here. It doesn't in real life. It actually smoothed out quite a bit, and after it dried, and it looks really pretty. You'll see that in the pictures. So go ahead and fold on the edges. Now, when I put this card together, I used not only double-sided adhesive, but I also used some liquid adhesive. And remember, you want one of the long ends to stand up, so that's your back for it. Don't fold all of them back. You just want to do just 3 of the 4 on the top there. So I put 1/8 inch, put 2 pieces of 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive. This is from scrapbook.com. It's super, 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 super inexpensive, and it works great. Tears easy. Comes in a bunch of different sizes. We'll link to it down below. Actually, as of today on 3/21 of 19, I believe it's on sale and really, really cheap today. So go grab you some of that double-sided adhesive. They have it in where you can get multiple rolls of it too. Comes in a bunch of different sizes, works really, really well. This is 110-pound paper. That adhesive works really, really well, but I also had texture on this because I did not cover those edges up like a moron when I went to add the glimmer paste on there. So I added the liquid adhesive only because it has texture on it and I didn't want to mess it up. I didn't want it to come apart on me. So you can see me there cleaning up my mat so I don't get any other things there. Now, when it comes to putting in the braces that go across, remember they're going from short side to short side. They're not going from long side to long side. They're going from short side to short side. So don't put them in last. That drives me insane personally. Put them in first. So put your adhesive strips on here. I probably should have used 1/4 inch adhesive, but I already had the 1/8 inch setting there, so it is what it is. So put your double-sided adhesive on the end flaps, score where it needs to be scored. I have 4 little things in here so I can do some front and backs of different things. And I have something on every single one of mine in my card. And then what I usually do is I start at the front and I work my way back. And I stack everything up first on one end. And I'll show you what I mean here in just a second. And make sure that I just made sure that I had adhesive on all the ends first, and notice that I didn't have this one for some reason, and I line it up where I want to on the front edge of the card. So I'm going to start on the left short edge, and then we're going to flatten all those little things out, and we're going to fold the card in half. And then that will make the short edges line up, and then we'll adhere the box closed. So I figure out where I want them. I put it down. Ta-da! Fold it up. And then I do the next one. And I'm just going to let you watch this for a second because it makes sense once you see it. And I wanted to make sure that they lined up, that they were straight when they were lined up, and not all whoppy-jawed, as my mother would say, whoppy-jawed. It's a technical term for crooked. So there's a couple different ways that I'm lining those up, and I'm looking to see, oh, do I really want to add that 4th one there? Yep, I do. And I literally just put them edge to edge pretty much, and then just laid it down. Ta-da! Now I'm going to flip those over, and then I'm going to remove all of the adhesive backing there on all of them. And as you can see, that the release paper comes off really easy on that. It's no digging or anything, and I don't have very big fingernails. And I'm going to fold it in half. So those ends actually are on the short end right there. Ta-da! Make sure everything lays down flat. And then I'm going to pull off that release paper, add another touch of glue because I added texture like an idiot. And then off screen, I colored all of my images to go inside of the box card. And I also added the pokey dotty paper for the back side of everything and on the back edge of the card. So when you go to add in all of your images on a box card, you can just adhere them straight in. You can add them on little pieces of clear acetate. It's entirely up to you how you want to do that. I just added mine straight in and didn't worry about the acetate pieces. And you can see how bright and vibrant that card was. I'll have all of the colors that I use for the Copic coloring over on my blog. The first thing I did for this was I put the stars in the background there. To me, they're more glittery than they are stars. I didn't add anything else to these images. No white, no anything, because this is a really busy little card. And I also had to figure out where in the world I was going to add my sentiment. I didn't really want to do like a banner or anything like that. I wanted it to be on the front of the card, but not on the bottom part of the card. And I didn't want to add words or anything else anywhere else. I just wanted it to be on that front flap right there and be simple and let the card stand out for itself. So I die cut the rectangle that fits on the flaps right there. I die cut that double stitched rectangle thing and just added "Have a Magical Day" from the stamp set itself onto that rectangle, and I stamped it in, what did I stamp it in? VersaFine Tuxedo Black ink, because it's a pigment ink. And then I heat set it, embossed it with some clear embossing powder over it, and I just used my ATG tape gun to add that to the front of the card, to that front flap there. Notice I'm not putting a great deal of glue on a lot of these. I'm just attaching it like on the bottom edge right there. I wanted the fairy to look like she was over top of the flowers and that kind of thing. And I did glue some things on top of each other on here and give it some height. I'm not worried about scale or anything like that. I just had fun with this and really I didn't put a whole lot of thought into planning this part of it out because I just wanted to have fun. I wanted to just have a fun card, and that's exactly what I had here with the pop-up box card from Lawn Fawn, one of my all-time favorites. Yesterday, or earlier in the week, you might have seen that I posted a video for the Magic Color Slider. Tomorrow, or let's see, today is already Thursday. Friday, I'm hoping to have the video up for the Magic Picture Changer, which is the new die set from Lawn Fawn for the interactive cards that came out for this spring. Absolutely cannot wait to play with that. And I'll have some tips and tricks on how to put that together for really quickly for you over on my blog. Also, one thing that I'm looking at for the future of my blog and for my channel as well is to have more general paper crafting stuff. Have some flowers, some stuff with a silhouette, not just cards, but things that you can still make with your stamps and dies that are outside of the card realm, and have some tutorials and that kind of thing as well. So just kind of want to let you know that that's going on. I'm just looking at it for right now to see if that's something that I want to do, and I'm thinking about it very seriously. So we'll see where that goes. And if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, don't hesitate to drop me an email at hello@jillcameroncreations.com. Also head over to my blog to subscribe to my newsletter and keep up to date with what's happening and general crafty tips and tricks that are in my email newsletters. You also get a recap of what's going on for the week, blog posts and such that are over on the blog. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, give it a thumbs up and like it for me, and I'll let you watch the rest of this video. Oh, I forgot I did this. People freak out over this. Do you know you can cut your clear stamps? I'm sure you know that, but you can cut your clear stamps because you can butt them right back up together. So on this one, the words were really close together. Put it in between your fingers like I was holding it and stretch the stamp out a little bit, and then you can cut very easily in between the words. So don't freak out. Definitely you can cut your stamps because they'll just butt right back up together against each other, and it's wonderful. I'm still using the clear acrylic block to do my sentiments because it just works better for me, and you can line them up a whole lot easier than you can if you use a stamp positioner. So just keep that in mind, and if you have any questions, like I said, email me, and you can find me on Instagram. You can also find me over on Facebook at jillcameroncreations.com, and drop me a line or tag me and let me see your stuff. That would be absolutely fantastic, and I will catch you later. Bye.